Hey Internet, thanks for watching another episode of LBEB Kitchen. Got a pretty nice dish for you today. This one comes from Peru and we picked it up when we went down there last year. It's called Arroz De Chaufa. So it's basically a white rice stir fry with beef stock, garlic, 4 eggs, some green onion, chili powder, ground ginger, and soy sauce. And if that sounds a little bit like a Chinese food to you, that's because it's a mixture of Peruvian and Chinese food. So there was a lot of Chinese immigrants to Peru through the 16th and 18th centuries, started off as a replacement for slave labor, and it eventually turned into its own labor force. So I didn't know that. I thought Chinese first immigrated to America to work on the railroad, but that would make sense that they went to Peru first since that was more colonized at the time. Anyway, we're going to make this up today. It's a very easy dish to make. There's just a few important steps that you need to do in sequence to get it right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to combine all the beef, half of our ginger, half of our garlic, roughly half, the chili powder, and your desired level of soy sauce. So the soy sauce level is going to be up to you. I wouldn't put in too much because it can overpower some of the flavors of the other food. So enough soy sauce to get soy flavor, but not so much that that's all you taste. Now just take your hands, you're going to mix this up in the bowl together. Okay, once you got the beef mixture mixed up, we're going to take the beef stock, we're going to cook it on the stove until it's boiling, and then we're going to add the rice. Okay, now while the beef stock is heating up, it's going to be important to get your eggs in a cup or a bowl, and you're going to whip them and place them in a pan, turning it into a little bit of a flat omelet that you're then going to cool after it's done. So don't skip this step. Don't just crack the eggs into the pan. Make sure you put them in a cup or a bowl first. Whisk them until they're creamy, and then we'll switch them over to the pan. All right, now we're just going to add the eggs to the pan, and we're going for the texture of an omelet. So don't stir it like scrambled eggs, but don't let it sit too long either. So as it's going, bring your spatula around under the edges, lift the edges, and let the rest of the egg come under and cook so it's nice and flat when it's done. Okay, so we've removed the egg from the pan. We're going to let it cool and then cut it into little strips later. So now use the same pan. You're going to take the beef and put the beef in the pan. So halfway through cooking this, we're going to add the other half of the garlic and the other half of the ginger. Now we add the other half of the garlic and the other half of the ginger. Okay, so while the beef is browning, we're going to finish up the egg. I got a little excited taking it out of the pan and broke it, but luckily we're just going to cut it into strips anyway. Now some may say to cook the egg completely the first time through, but I've found that I just don't like that rubbery texture as much, so I'm going to undercook it a little bit now, so when I add it into the mixture later, it won't be too rubbery. Okay, well everything's done cooking and the eggs are cooled a bit. So we're going to put everything together in the pan now, starting with the rice, a cup of green onions, the egg, and finally a little more soy sauce. Okay, so what we're going to be left with here is a dish that's full of flavor, full of protein, full of carbs, and it's got some great color to go with it as well. So it's one of my favorite dishes I've picked up so far in my limited traveling. Alright guys, well thanks for watching another episode of LBEB Kitchen. This is Arroz De Chaufa from Peru. Catch you next time.